Welcome to the Zandbergen Report, where wealth strategies and investment wisdom collide, featuring your distinguished host and certified financial planner, Bart Zandbergen.
Welcome to the Zandbergen Report, a showcase for wealth strategies and investment wisdom that's essential for our evolving world. I am your stumbling host, Bart Zandbergen.
I like that.
And Paul, we left the door open, and look who followed me in here today.
Hey!
You know, and I just got a little sense. I saw a little tension. Could hear some debate going down the hall. It was getting loud, and I'm wondering, the show says you're distinguished host. Maybe today it'll be your extinguished host. Could be.
I think it's highly possible. We are going to approach what I think could be a highly debatable subject. And as it turns out, Letitia and I are on opposite sides of this.
Not on every question.
Not on every question, but
some.
And I couldn't guess. I don't know if the audience can either, but, you know, when you bring up the topic, you should, before you do it, let them guess which side each of you is on, because I guessed wrong.
All right, so maybe someone will tweet an answer. So our topic today is 12 reasons not to listen to TV financial personalities.
People like Susie Orman or Dave Ramsey or all these others that populate the airwaves everywhere or the internet, and they all got financial advice for you here.
Exactly. And as Letitia and I were preparing, and I thought for sure my esteemed partner in crime, we would be aligned on such...
Yeah, simpatico for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the personalities in particular, and she came out with a much, much different opinion.
She kind of reminds me, you know, I had my 5-year-old grandson with us this weekend, and every time I'd say something, he'd say, "Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no, Grandpa. Oh, no, no." I say, "What should we do?" "Oh, no, 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 no." So that was what I was hearing coming down the hallway here. You're the old man, and she's giving you the new view here.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that.
Can't I just be the man?
No, the old man is so
I had to bring
funny.
me into it somehow here. Right?
All right, so since we do have 12 reasons, we're going to get started.
But wait, hold on. We already said Paul is going to help us today, be the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Well, and again, because the whole premise is you're saying 12 reasons not to listen to these people. Don't base your financial future on this pop psychology that you're getting from these people dispensing here. So one of you, though, disagrees with that, and one of you says, yeah, don't listen to these people, and one of you says, well, maybe not so bad. So I don't know if anybody, we should have a little contest to see who would think which side each of you comes down on.
So what should we do? Go through a couple of questions and see if anybody tweets in? And if not, it's going to become apparently clear, abundantly clear. Probably after the first or second.
I assumed that Letitia's young people hate authority. It's a YouTube world. I don't need you to tell me the answers. I can go find it myself. So I would think she would immediately be against any sort of prepackaged advice. But I'm hearing that she kind of likes some of these people.
I like advice.
Would you like to comment?
I like advice. I like information. I like knowledge.
Because they say millennials hate advice and hate information, you know, where they hate being
It didn't mean I have to take advice.
I see. Okay, so we know the answer. Letitia's not as anti as you are here.
All right. So let's start. Let's make it through this list. So the first one is all advice has to be taken with a grain of salt. Now, you cannot disagree with that.
No, I completely agree with you.
Okay. Well, thank you. So we're 1 for 1. And I think the specifics there are the one thing. If people remember the very painful first episode of the Zandbergen Report where I was interviewed.
Yes.
And one of my things is you never speak in absolutes. Yeah, it's hard not to mention names, but there's a couple of very prominent, both Susie Orman and Dave Ramsey. But one of the things I think they're most popular for doing is taking a stance on something, and that's the general statement. It's an absolute. And
you got to be certain. This is it. That's the thing to do. There's 3 ways to fix your marriage. There's 2 ways to save there's 5 ways. We love these instant, quick answers to complex problems.
But I will take the stance again that there's no absolutes in that.
Are you absolutely sure there's no absolutes?
Well, we gave Paul
we gave him authority today. We did give him authority today.
Just playing my role here.
So here's a perfect example. Susie likes to say, never buy, we call it cash value or permanent insurance, only term. Term is the only way to go. I take offense to that because there's different circumstances. Both Letitia and I are not a big proponent of having to buy insurance unless you need it, number one. Number two, we do a complete evaluation, decide, All right, what is the insurance need? Is it for a temporary period of time? Great, let's get some term insurance. Is it permanent? Do you have an estate the size that you're going to have a significant estate tax when you die? Let's look at permanent insurance. So, Tish, you're gonna fight me on that one?
I'm ready. Okay, so it says regardless of the source. I think that you should always check the source, and every source has their own bias and their own background and their own objectives. But let's just say it's a public speaker. It's a public speaker that's talking about finance. So sometimes you have to speak generally, and they have to speak generally because they're talking to the masses. And in these two examples that you're referencing. So my thought is I agree with you, but sometimes in their defense, they have to speak in general terms because they're speaking to a lot of people. They don't know the individual's specific situation.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be fun. So,
you know what we do? I gotta interrupt. I gotta ring the bell here. Ready? Okay.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Okay. Don't hold back no more.
So here's what I agree with you. You can speak in generalities, but don't make an assumption. So if someone's speaking to the fact to say, only buy term insurance, don't buy permanent insurance, they are making assumptions about their audience. That's not a generality. That's making a very pointed assumption. So that's not fair advice. It's not fair financial advice. It's not good financial advice.
So when I have to sometimes make a statement, I will reference an example. So are they just making blanket statements, or they're just examples?
It's blanket statements.
Okay.
It's what
I agree with you on this one, by the way.
All right. There's one. Moving on.
Here we go.
You beat her down on that one. You beat her down on that.
I did agree with him in the beginning, just so we're all clear.
Okay, so number 2, TV personality, quote unquote, doesn't know you.
Agreed.
Somewhat related to the first one. Someone who uses an advisor, doesn't have to be Letitia and I. That advisor spends some time getting to know that person, finding what their goals, objectives, what makes them tick. You and I have a 61 question process where we go through and really understand these clients. Someone on TV or on the radio doesn't know, is making, again, blanket advice without knowing the particulars. And actually, this isn't only specific to TV personalities. This could be to the low-cost custodians where you might call someone direct. You're going to get someone on the other end of the line, could just be in college, just right out of college, don't know you, and they're purportedly giving you investment advice or financial advice. I take exception to that.
So also, is to add to what you're saying is, as far as they don't know you, some of these public figures are not licensed, so they don't have the same fiduciary responsibility as we do in understanding your entire financial situation to be able to give that advice.
So that rolls into number 3. I'm glad you brought that up. Most of their advice is very general. That's what you're standing, that's your soapbox, that they're giving general advice. Well, I think general advice is a negative. You were taking it as a positive. But I know I'm picking on poor Susie Orman, but she hasn't had a license since 1991.
What? So I didn't know that. Really?
There you go, Paul. So she does not have the same oversight that we have. I mean, the audience probably doesn't know that every show that we do here goes through our compliance, gets dictated, written, and sent to compliance to make sure we haven't said anything inappropriate. It's not the same for the TV personalities. They can say whatever because they don't have the lines, they don't have the compliance and the oversight that we are bound to.
And yet people rely on them because they are in a public position. They're on television. They're on the internet, sell a lot of books, whatever it is. So we have a tendency to believe them because they're celebrities.
Agreed. But here I'm going to add another element, Bart, that I want you to consider. So sometimes, in my personal opinion, I don't necessarily know if people not everyone has access to good financial sense. So if your parents didn't teach you, let's say good is relative, define good, but financial decision making, or what's the difference of an IRA or a Roth or a 401k, some of the basic things out there, sometimes it's good to just get some general information on what each of these different pieces are and some generalization of, hey, maybe it's a good idea to save for my 401k and not spend all my money on my first job and be able to invest in my future. So some of the general information for someone who might not have any idea for what an IRA is or a Roth is, and being able to make the general decision of which one to choose, and they're having that option in the employee enrollment meeting, they can listen to someone that's a financial figure to get some basic knowledge.
So general information is, and I agree with you there, but is way different.
Wait. We heard that correctly?
Maybe. Yeah. You guys aren't being confrontational enough here. It sounded a lot hotter in the hallway here.
So general information is a lot different than an absolute pointed statement or I'm going to call it recommendation. When someone says you only buy term insurance or you only invest in the stock market, that's just
you keep on referencing two specific points over and over. I'm just saying is her advice general? And sometimes it needs to be general because they don't know your whole situation. Right. They're just telling definitions.
You. So advice is one. So general information is one thing. General advice is another.
Right.
General advice.
So how do you decide if what they're telling you is educational? I'm just going to tell you the difference between a Roth IRA and a 401k and all the different kinds. It's like going and just taking a class or reading a book. You're just going to kind of learn about the different things out there. But then they cross over and they express their own views and their own opinions. This one's bad, that one's good.
Okay, a great example of that is when she had her show, Susie Orman, if you want to reference Susie Orman, when she had her show and she went live on the air, people would call in with questions about specific things, and at that point she's not giving terms and facts of what the limits are, and you're giving information when you're giving very facts of what it is and limitations, maximums, qualifications. That's one. And then you're actually giving advice when people are calling you on air and saying, hey, I have a 401k here. Should I take it out to buy a boat? And then she gives her full spiel on if they should do that or not. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I remember that. And that is what I think is a problem. That is not okay to give specific advice when they don't know all the situations that come into play with their financial situation.
That's been my point from the beginning.
We got to, but isn't that what we see in pop psychology today? Isn't that Dr. Phil, who we watch him dissect some complex relationship in 30 seconds?
Yeah, I don't even want to go down that path, but yeah. I don't want to get too controversial.
It's kind of the same thing.
But
right?
Okay, so we'll shift gears. You brought it up, Paul, then you made a comment that I'm using the same example. So David Ramsey, his comment always says, Roth IRA, Roth 401k, only do Roth. That is not good advice. If he were to explain, this is the benefits of a Roth, this is the benefits of a traditional, but you can't make a general advice that you can only use a Roth. There are people in a high tax bracket today that are going to be in a lower tax bracket when they retire.
Right.
They should be using traditional tax deductions. That kind of advice is not okay.
So how do they get away with it? Why are they so popular and so widely?
Because they're not licensed.
And why does Dr. Phil get away with it? They're not licensed. They're not professionals.
It sells because people want basic information, and even if you use an example or a scenario or you give tips and tools, people like to know that from industry experts. And so they've been put on this pedestal as being an industry expert, and so more and more people buy into that philosophy and want to be able to get more and more specifics on their unique situation.
Can I give you another idea?
Sure.
I think it has to do with certainty. When they stand up and say, this is it, we all like to think, okay, great. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to evaluate it. I don't have to understand it. They're going to tell me the two things I need to do, and I'm just going to follow them. I might not like it, but then I'll just go look for another guru.
People like direction. I would agree with that. People absolutely do like direction.
Apparently, because they're getting paid a lot of money to do what they do. But I also think of, as Paul was saying,
we give our clients direction.
Yeah, but we have
knowing the full picture.
Exactly.
But we're still giving certainty. We're still giving direction.
Yeah, but an educated with knowing more knowledge.
Correct.
Do you have some clients that just say, just take the money and do something with it? I don't want to know anything about it.
But we still make them know what's going on and educate them.
Yeah. But to Paul's point, there are very famous economists that are supposed to be predictors of where the economy is going, and they take a very, very strong stance.
Yeah.
We're saying names here. So Harry S. Dent, here's one. We're going to get so much hate mail.
They can call in. We'll give them the free number. They can call in.
From my knowledge, he was right once in his career, and he has been a go-to guy for since I've been in the business for almost 30 years. And he makes predictions of the roaring 20,000 Dow, but he made that 15 years ago, and we were not at 20,000 yet. Now he's predicting Dow 5,000. And he makes to Paul's point, he makes a very strong statement, a very strong prediction, and people glob onto that for right or for wrong.
And again, that's not your opinion. That's his opinion.
Because true experts, like you guys, you're going to give me the pros and cons. You're going to give me both sides of it, and then my head explodes. I think there are too many people that just want to say, just tell me. It's kind of like the way my daughter is, I'm sorry to say, about voting. I don't want to know all this, Dad. Who should I vote for? Just tell me. And so I think they like that certainty about it, even if it's certainly not a good idea or certainly wrong.
Paul, you should do what I do to my wife. Just take her voting card, mail it, and just vote for her.
See? Right, exactly.
Wrong.
That's what I
It's
All right,
wrong.
number 4, your own financial situation is unique. There's a thing going on here, but there are a couple of the TV people who are just stock market, only stock market. Well, look, stock market is great. It has its good years, it has its bad years. But would you and I ever put anyone in 100% in stocks? No. But some of these people are actually professing, hey, over the long run, you're going to make more money. Yeah, maybe you can and maybe you will. But are you ready for the volatility and
or the gold
heartache?
bugs or other people?
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right, number 5. When you get that popular, there are always commercial biases. I don't know if you remember, this was kind of a debacle or a fiasco. Poor Susie, had a prepaid debit card. And, at its core, I think it's a pretty decent idea for those that have had credit issues. Here, get a prepaid card. You can use it. It's convenient. You can't go over limit and so on and so forth. But you can't I'm going to suggest that you don't suggest to the entire listening public that's the only way to go. For our clients, we're always recommending, hey, if you pay your bills on time, get a card that pays you back or gives you points. You're going to maximize your leverage from those sort of things. Anti-fraud capabilities. And there's all sorts of benefits. So, again, a very general, absolute statement.
So I'm losing the argument here. I mean, I don't see that you're both nodding and saying yes here again. I hate this. The crowd wanted to see a smackdown here.
But I'm that good, Paul.
Apparently.
All right, number 6. There's a bit too much emphasis on the little things. This one just really, really gets me. I'm picking on the 2 again, but one of their points might be, hey, forget the $4 latte every day. You're focusing on your budget, you're focused on your bills.
Yeah, right.
So in concept, focus on getting your financial house in order. But you know how much money you save in a year on a $4 a day latte, Paul?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'd have to do the math.
$1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah. So how about focus on, hey, if that's really an issue, maybe you overbought on your car, you overbought on your house, or there's other things that you're doing. I think that's just a little out of touch.
Can I give you another little one that just came up on another show, and I'm guilty of this, and many others confess to being in it. We all subscribe to little $10 things. I'm going to get a $10 to check my credit. I'm going to get a $10 something, a little software, an app. I'm going to get $10 for Amazon Music, and we sign. It's $10. It's nothing. Pretty soon you realize you get $600-700 a month going out in $10 a month charges.
So exactly. So I agree with Paul in this, and this is where I'm going to come back and rebuttal for Bart, is if you don't have control of your expenditures, a coffee is just an example. But usually if you're spending over your budget on a coffee and you can't afford rent, a coffee is an easy solution to be able to cut out of your diet and or your expenses to be able to bring it down. I get it. It's not going to change the world by these little teeny granular ones, but it's being able to take a big concept and make it applicable to something tangible that they're doing every single day, that they're, what Paul just said, is they're not paying attention to the details, and they're just expensing it like, oh, it's just part of this. I need this every day, and you don't even realize it. Or that gym membership that's sitting on there that you signed up for that you don't go, that's automatically prepaid for every single month, but you're not going to that one, and you chose a different one, but you forgot to cancel the other one. Like little things like that just sit on your expenses all the time. I think that she picks up points like that to be able to say, know where your money's going, the inflow and outflow. And we talk to our clients about this all the time. And usually they have a better grasp of cash management.
It's not the $4 latte. We're talking about bigger things. And we are very specific, not just general, the coffee or latte. And you know what? You're a buzzkill, and I'm going to go get a grande sugar-free caramel latte on my way out of here.
Because I don't think you would actually drink that. Just saying.
This sounds good.
He's mad now.
But no, okay, so I listened to it. I took that advice, and I stopped drinking the coffees at Starbucks because I was spending way too much money. But I was the crazy person that instead of spending the money at Starbucks every day, I then bought more stock because I liked the company. So that was something that I personally did many, many, many years ago. But I took that advice.
So Susie
that was something I applied
Susie
to.
saved your life.
No.
So just whatever you do not stop drinking coffee. 'Cause I've seen you without coffee. It's not good. Just
All right.
I'll buy you
coffee.
Starbucks. Whatever.
How many more we got to go through? We're halfway through the
No,
list.
yeah, we got 5, so let's go fast. No, not everyone should invest in stocks. That's point number 7, and I did reference it a little prematurely. What I don't like from the TV advisors are one-size-fit-all advice, and I'm kind of driving
Agreed.
that point home, but that's just...
Diversification. We talk about that all the time.
And no, everyone won't get rich in the stock market, and that's both Orman and Ramsey. That's kind of their thing, and they just seem to be such big cheerleaders. And I don't know how or why
that's
coming
American.
from.
That's the Wall Street Journal and American Economics 101. Come on, stock market's where it's at, baby.
All right, so we're on number 9. 'Cause I know we're running out of time. So I will say that they don't always follow their own advice. So Susie's big thing is stock market. Guess where most of her money is, Tish?
In real estate.
No, Paul.
That's real estate too, but you got me.
Business.
Municipal bonds.
Munis.
What? Susie Orman, who's always talking stocks and everything here.
Exactly.
There we go.
Direct your comments to.
This is not going to be pass or compliance. I can tell right now.
No, I don't know.
Number 10. Sometimes they're not just wrong, but they're very, very wrong. And if we talk about some of the evidence that they use in the stock market, some of the recommendations during the last recession going on the stock market. Now, in the last recession, 2008, the market did recover, but it's certainly, you can't make a blanket statement to the entire population. Some are retired, some are senior citizens, to go all in on black when the market is crumbling. For someone your age, Tish, and actually, frankly, mine, I went in, but I have many years, and you have many more years than I do. So it's good advice for a part of the population, but not the entire population.
And I guess that goes back to the accountability. Even if they give wrong advice, they're not licensed.
That's
So
the key. They got nothing to lose. So
They have nothing to lose.
I can say go in on all black. Bet
It's
black every
reputation
time.
that they lose instead, and reputation and followers, and maybe sponsors or people who are subscribing to their extra cash flow businesses, like their books or their subscriptions. That's what they lose, not their licenses or their business.
And that kind of leads into this next one as well. And I can't say this about Ramsey, but I know it about Orman, that she's a millionaire, right? So her advice may not fit everyone's financial situation, or it might be different. It might be easy for her to say, hey, don't worry about getting your coffee every day because she can afford it, and it's not something that she has to go through. So I just take a look at that, find that a little...
Do you? I sense.
That's an opinion.
I sense there's another thing here. Do clients come to you having watched some wizard on TV and say, "Well, why not this?" and want you to do something because they watched one of these people and suddenly they think that's the answer, and you're like, "No, come on, we talked about this. That's not what you should be doing." Do they come to you with these ideas that they've gathered somewhere else, and then you have to talk them off the roof here, talk them off the ledge from jumping into these disasters?
I think over the last 27 years, I've had 2 that have done that. So no, this isn't what prompted this conversation. You would think it would happen more, but I think our clients are a little more astute than to take advice from someone on TV or.
I'm
getting a stink eye right now.
Whoa, pretty bold statements here.
Right.
Okay, then last, and then I think I'm going to be done because at the end of
This
the day,
is the Bart Zandbergen show.
Yeah,
Bart Zandbergen opinion.
he's
101.
ranting today. Right?
I know. Watch out.
and this crosses over beyond just financial TV. It goes into the TV psychology and everything else, trying not to mention names. But at the end of the day, they're entertainers, I think, first and foremost.
They
That's
are.
it.
Because, like I said, this is their reputation. They're not getting paid based on their performance, so they're not managing and have liabilities. It has nothing to do with what their day to day.
All commentators, they're there to get you riled up. They're there to be certain. They're there to be
Give you direction,
to
to give you
provoke you to
certainty.
do something good or bad. To do, I have a tendency to be into politics, and I won't go too far into that. But I watched one of these guys on one of these interviews once, and he said, just a showman. Don't take it so serious.
Yeah. So, and that really crosses over before we get out here is even the network news, the business news channels. At the end of the day, They're there to sell ad space, right? So,
ratings.
So to that, Paul, we have more clients that will come to us. They, hey, CNBC said this, Jim Cramer said this. So that happens a little bit more than the people we've been discussing today.
Right, exactly. But it's the same kind of symptom. Whereas
same thing.
You think there's a simple answer, and they say something provocative, and you go, yeah, that makes sense. Why not? We should be doing that. I should be buying Lithuanian gold stocks here. Well, I should be buying a Bitcoin. Yeah, come on.
All right, I'm all out of air, and
wow. Do you feel better now that you let it out?
Well, yeah, except for I'm afraid I'm going to get flogged on the way out.
She is kind of giving you
stink eye, right?
Yeah, a little bit. She's not sure she went for this whole thing. All right, so
you want to close up?
Point counterpoint. Obviously, Bart doesn't see value in these people. All they do is give you general broad things. They don't know you. They don't understand anything about it. They don't present any of the complexities to it. They just make it simple. Here it is. Go do it. And he sees that as a danger. You seem to think it more educational and have some value to it.
I think that when you are young and you are, or at any stage in your life, and say you have no sense of understanding of a financial direction, and you're looking for some direction, and I think it's healthy to research and to look into finding out paths for yourself, and to be aware of the different options out there to be able to find information. So if it's from someone online, or it's someone on a YouTube channel, or a podcast like what we're doing right now, or someone on TV, I feel like all of those things have some value, but I think the takeaway is you need to then take it to the next level for yourself, and to be more specific is talk to someone like us, or take it to the next level within what your needs and goals are, and know that, okay, great, this is general information, but what do I need for my specific direction so I can reach my specific goals to be able to best fit my situation. And so I know I said a bunch of times, but that's the takeaway. I think that all the information out there is information, and it's up to you to be able to organize it and then be able to figure out what direction to take next. And that could be seeing an advisor like us to help you find that path, or just being able to make sure advisors like us are giving you good information. I don't think it's a bad thing when they come to us and say, hey, what do you think of X, Y, and Z? I think that's great that they are being aware of their options.
So it would be fair to say that, like the disclaimer on this show and so many others say, this is for educational purposes only.
Right.
Some of these people seem to go beyond that for the shock value, for the ratings, and they're not saying, I'm just going to educate you. I'm going to direct you. I'm going to give you specific ideas that you should act upon.
And you like we said, you should take that as a grain of salt, and then go take it to the next level to see how that applies to your specific situation.
All right.
We're going to agree to disagree.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. I was trying to find some agreement here at the end here. All right. How do they agree if they want to find out more about you, and if they just have questions about this? I'm hearing this. Do you ever give just free comment to friends and family of the show here who will
yes,
with a question?
Yes.
Of course, we enjoy doing that.
Yes.
Because a lot of misinformation. What I object to, and I'll leave it with my takeaway, is I think it creates confusion. And confusion is either leads to inaction or it leads to wrong action.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's hard to sift through and sort all this out on your own. And too much of this is out there.
Oh, I think it just gives you general information, and then you can make a decision.
I don't think people react that way, though. I think I'm kind of with Bart. I think they take it and they act upon it without considering it too much. They trust it too quickly and act upon it too fast.
Tish, you want to close this up before I give you the hook?
I need my own show.
Yeah. She just won't let this go. She's trying to come back here. Right?
Tell everybody how to reach us.
No, go ahead. I got you got this. This is your show today.
Well, feel free to get either of our Instagram handles. Mine is Bart Zandbergen, or at Bart Zandbergen, and Letitia's is at Letitia Berbaum, LETITIABERBAUM. You can go to the ZandbergenReport.com. We look forward to being in the studio next week. Have a great week. Cheers.
Tune in next week for the latest edition of the Zandbergen Report, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Catch up on our recent shows by visiting bartzandbergen.podbean.com. The Zandbergen Report is also available on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Interested in being a featured guest on our show, or have a question you'd like to hear us answer? email podcast@bartzandbergen.com. Bart A. Zandbergen, CFP, and Letitia Berbaum, AIF, are registered investment advisors with Optivest Inc. and registered representatives with Gramercy Securities Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered by Optivest Inc. under SEC registration.